So this is another project, completely different. This is more modern music. The other one is a demo. So here we've got our first sort of set of mixes, if you will. And so my role here is kind of, or what I'm doing in this case is providing a second listen. There's still time to make some changes to the mixes, but this has been more or less kind of sequenced, as you can see here. And then I got a divider like your A side and your B side. I still think along those lines, even though we're now in the digital era, you don't have an A or a B side, but you never know in case you want to release to another format like vinyl or cassette tape, which is coming back, especially in Japan these days. What's that all about? So, so let's take a listen here. So I'm going to make some notes because there's still time to make any last minute changes if they're urgent in the mixing phase. And this whole thing is instrumental, by the way. All right, so let's take a listen here, this first track. So immediately you know I have an issue. Bass could be a little bit lower. Hi-hats are just annoying in the headphones. Bass needs to go down a little bit. So we've got an issue here, right? I think there's a snare here. Snare is clipping. Samples, which cases that can do. That's atrocious. You're gonna get stuff like this if you mix, by the way. Everyone just compresses things. They've got samples. My favorite is I remember working with a guy who he would buy beats and he would buy them and they'd get sold them in MP3. So not only were they in MP3 format, not an uncompressed like .wave format, or AIF. Actually, .wave is what I don't really run to AIFF as much. And so it's an MP3. It's overcompressed and I'm like, okay, this is when I was doing more tracking. And I'm like, man, like whoever's going to deal with this down the road it's going to be a pain. It's like, and it's funny, like there's websites where people will buy beats and they'll give you an option to buy the uncompressed WAV file versus an MP3. So if you're one of these guys who buys other people's beats and raps over it, buy the uncompressed WAV if you can. I know you got to spend more money for it, but let's look here. Synthy, got a sound. Put this in grid mode. Snare's okay. Needs to go down a little bit. So and it could be also the synths go up a little bit and the bass goes down a little also during the chorus. So during chorus. Let's say it was well balanced, right? The only thing I would do differently here, and which is something I can really more control, I would raise the volume in the chorus a little bit too. You want to add a little bit more excitement. So during the chorus, I would suggest the suggestions I have here is raise the synth and then lower the bass a little. It's all relative, right? Okay. And I'm just actually going to look at the clip gain here, which you can see I got the clip gain lines there. So if we go right here, see that? So let's just look at what we're dealing with. So 0 peak, 10.5. That's not a ton of range. So what we're going to do in this case is we're going to want, let's lower it about 2.5. I think we could even get away with like 1, right? Let's see if that changes any of the... It's still there. Let's see what we're dealing with here. Oops. Yep, so we did something there. So that's been lowered. Analyze this one, 0 dB. So let's hear this one. To 0 is better. That hi-hat, man. It's like got desensitized to it. Kick drum is also a bit on the loud side, as you can hear. Let's go here, or what are we on this one? 4 gain. Peak is at 0 dB. What's the RMS? Oof, that's not a lot. Okay, so we're going to lower this. We're going to lower this quite a bit. We're going to lower this to 4.5. Let's say 5 actually. So we're going to have to restore loss dynamics on this one, because that range is 8. That's no range, not even 8. And we see a brick wall here, right? That bass is oversaturated. So again, we want to highlight the synths. There's some magic in those synths. The bass is adding sort of a foundation, right? It's adding this warmth to it, and it's on the synths on the higher end to do their thing to kind of pull you in more. So here we have another issue, right? Bass is too loud. It's saturating and clipping, it sounds like. let's see here. We're gonna do this one. Do one more, and I think my lunch is ready. Might be my first meal of the day. My first real meal. You get in a groove with things here in this, happens when you're in the studio. You get in a groove, and next thing you know, you've eaten like a bag of potato chips, and it's what, $8.49 at night. Maybe I had 2 bags of potato chips, not large bags, by the way. This is better. We have 14, so we're gonna lower this a little bit here. We're gonna lower it about. That's fine. Mixing into a limiter so you can see here. Bass is a little too loud, but it's not bad. Percussion can be a little bit more punchy, but these are samples, as we can tell. Thought I heard a snare hat. Snare hat, sorry, hi-hat. Somewhere. It's not bad. Few notes on this. This is something I'd like for them to turn up here, but again, I can do that just manually if I want to, right? So that's a little too loud, right? So I got turned up a little bit. So you hear those notes staying a little bit longer, and then here we have. A lot of dynamic range in this song. too quiet. So hi-hat, yeah, chronic issue. Okay, let's narrow it down a little bit. This part here. So that we can probably fix, but I'm just going to put a note here. Second verse intro. Turn up volume. Anyhow, we're going to take a break. I'm going to eat for once today, and we'll take it from there.